All right. It's 5:31. I'll bring the meeting of License Ordinance Committee to order. The first order of business is comments from citizens present. Is there anyone here who would like to speak about anything on the agenda tonight? If you would like to, go ahead and let me know. I don't see anyone wanting to speak, so I'm going to move on from that item. Next, we'll go to the approval of the minutes.
I'll move approval.
I will second. Any discussion on them? Hearing none. All in favor of the approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Next on to the hearings and appeals. Number one, the appeal of a denial of an operator's license for Ryan Driscoll, employee of the Middleton Farmers Cooperative, 1755 North Pleasant View Road.
And I'll report on this. Ryan is present as well. I did call him last week and kind of filled him in on what this process entailed. So there's, as far as the application, which is included there as well, or was in the packet, I should say, it's definitely missing a number of traffic citations and arrests. But the main issue is that Mr. Driscoll has 2 warrants, one of them for probation warrant that was entered 2019. And then he also has a body only warrant for a felony operating while intoxicated, third offense with a minor in a vehicle, operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration, third offense with a minor in the vehicle, and operate a motor vehicle while revoked. So that's the issue there.
What's been our policy in terms of in the past? I don't recall an issue of like something like this coming up in the past, at least as since I've been a part of L&O.
Right. Well, things too have changed a bit over, it's been a couple years now since there's been some overhaul, at least in terms of convictions and so forth. So, you know, in terms of looking at prior convictions, it's always been the rule that the circumstances of the offense have to substantially relate to the licensed activity. And I think typically under most circumstances, we consider OWIs to be relevant to the licensed activities. But now we have to be, well, we're also prohibited, except in certain circumstances, to just consider arrests that have not become convictions yet. And so really that third OWI that is out there's no conviction on it yet. And the statutes don't really distinguish between arrests that may or may not have been charged. So I think that still sits in the arrest category. But for the earlier ones, there's a series of criteria that are required to be considered for old convictions. One being the evidence of the nature and seriousness of any offense for which he or she was convicted, evidence of all circumstances relative to the offense, including mitigating circumstances or social conditions, the age of the individual at the time the offense was committed, the length of time that has elapsed since the offense was committed, letters of reference by persons who have been in contact with the individual, and other relevant evidence of rehabilitation and present fitness. And so, if I'm correct, we have a 2019 OWI conviction. And then there was a 2018. Sorry, I moved my page. I was on the application.
So there's a guilty OWI in 2002, and Ryan, fill us in if any of this think is inaccurate. And then there's a blood alcohol content conviction from a 2018 case. And then I think the 19 one is the one that is pending.
Right, that's right. I misspoke. Well, let's see, were there others missing?
Well, there's other traffic offenses that are missing, certainly from, and also some criminal arrests. The reason for which he is on probation, it would appear, is a drug-related offense, a paraphernalia possession, as well as, what was it, bail jumping. So he's on probation.
So isn't there also, I don't know if there's a conviction here, but a 2018 operating a firearm while intoxicated.
I'd have to check
I'm just double checking. This is Ryan P. Yeah, February 12/79.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got that as a found guilty due to plea. And
When was that, Matt?
the judgment is June 28th of 2019.
Hmm.
So that was also not listed on the form. So then that's a separate issue to the extent we're missing information on the form. I mean, there's various circumstances there. Sometimes it's circumstances have been such that we viewed it as kind of an innocent oversight. I think I can remember a few times where we have not been so charitable. I think we would want to hear from Ryan on why these other things aren't in there. But then to the extent, I do think that the 2019 and the fact that it's still open and so forth does have some bearing on some of the factors that I talked about. Although he said that even that arrest is back in 2019, and kind of curious why there's still an open bench warrant and doesn't seem to be any movement on the case, but.
Oh, if I can I butt in? I'm sorry. Can I just say,
Yeah. Please, thank you.
yeah, I've been in process. I actually have a son who's I've been caring for the last few years. He's younger, he has autism, so it's kind of hard for me to get him into daycare. So I've been kind of taking care of him throughout the years while his mother worked full time. That's kind of why I'm trying to get the part-time employment in the evenings. I am in contact with Columbia County, and I have a lawyer, Peter Middleton, out of Columbia County, that is working with the district attorney as of now. I mean, he's been in the process since October, because I definitely wanted to just get this cleared up and settled. And I actually spoke to him today. He called me and said he would know more on Friday of what we can do to get rid of the warrant and get through with the process and kind of get this moving and behind us, or myself, so that's where that stands at the moment. That's as far as I know. I've had limited contact with him, but I'm sure he's also busy because he's through the state. So I actually just heard from him today.
And I can confirm, and I looked through and I did found it a little ironic that his attorney's name was Middleton. But yeah, he has had a public defender involved since October. That's why, it's not that there hasn't been any contact with the court all this time. I'm just a little surprised that they haven't taken care of that bench warrant yet, but I don't think it's an issue that nobody has any idea where he is, and there's no contact with the court on his behalf. So it looks like most of the stuff, I mean, in terms of the occurrence of the offenses, all seem to go back to this, 2018, 2019 timeframe. There wasn't another 2014 conviction that started, gets back there. I mean, I think arguably that should have also been on the form, and I'd ask, Ryan to tell us, why some of these things aren't on there. That was for possession of or illegally obtained prescription. Given the age of that one, I don't know how interested the committee is in hearing about that. It certainly suggests that it's sort of in the realm of maybe related to licensed activity, but probably something that if you are interested in it, you'd want to know a bit more about the circumstances. I don't think it's as direct a line as an OWI might be, but I certainly think that the nature of the offenses and the recency of the 2018, 2019 stuff is probably the biggest concern from a license perspective.
And concern in what aspect of it? Is it just from a liability standpoint, or what's when you say concern, Matt, what do you say more about that?
Well, I mean, it's just basically responsible behavior surrounding alcohol. Now, this, I think the concerns are a little lessened in a, Class A situation versus if he was working at a bar and you have more responsibility for cutting people off and stuff to try to discourage drunk driving. I think one who has many convictions themselves, I think it's suggestive of some bad decisions and not somebody who you think is going to be likely to control the flow of alcohol to another person in those regards. But that said, once we issue the operator's license, he is not bound to only work at a gas station. It would for 2 years authorize employment at any alcohol establishment to serve. So but I think probably I'm sorry, go ahead, Lou.
So I was just going to say, and I'm looking back over the dates, and apologies, this is, I'm not sure, for this one isn't coming to mind in terms of, this might have been before I officially joined Illinois, probably maybe not, et cetera, but do we have notes of kind of ultimately why the decision was made the first go round?
You mean the denial?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that it initially comes to the police department. So the denial is due to a couple of things. One, a warrant related to the alcohol offense. Generally speaking, and the bench warrant is for a failure to appear issue. So that could, and Ryan may be able to answer this, that case has been pending since 2019. It could be COVID, it could be a failure to appear, it could be any number of things as to why that has been open so long. There's also, as Matt went over, a number of criminal offenses that were not reported on this form. And there's, I guess I'm not even certain what that bottom offense is in the 2018, if that's supposed to be a DWI or DWF, because so anyway, it's an incomplete form, inaccurate, and then obviously the alcohol related offenses. Sorry about that.
So if, for hypothetically speaking, Jeremy, if the form were to be completed more completely, there wouldn't be as many concerns, but there would still be concern. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair to say. Yes.
Would there be an option to fill out the form, and then maybe I can look at my, everything that I had on my record and be complete? Because at times I'm unsure what's, I know that things have happened, but I'm unclear what they are.
Well, I mean, it does
what they're
say
put down as or not.
The form says list all and all and any is in bold and caps, convictions, citation, tickets, and pending charges not identified above. I mean, clearly you've had a number of arrests and convictions that were not disclosed on your application.
Okay.
I guess I don't understand necessarily what you're getting at. It's clearly very incomplete just looking at your driving record and your criminal history.
Well, and I would also echo too, I think the existence of the, Wisconsin Circuit Court record system is maybe not everybody knows about it, but it's pretty common. So I mean, it's for those who may not remember dates or whatnot, or need refreshing. I mean, that information is available to everyone, so you don't have these omissions, but.
I'm of Katie, I don't know your thoughts, but I'm on two minds of this. So one of which is, look, as someone, a recovering alcoholic myself, I'm very sympathetic to people who have struggled with addiction, and I believe very strongly in second chances. The second component, though, is it's troubling when not all of the history was listed, and so my gut is to say I'd like to see the applicant resubmit the form with the complete history on it before we ultimately were to make a decision.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on both of your points. And while I understand one has to take work where we can find it, I'm also wanting Ryan to consider the idea that even if we resubmit this, if you resubmit your application, there's a possibility that you'll get denied again. And so I want you to be ready to try to find employment where this isn't part of the, that this would not be part of the job that would, endanger your employment. I understand it's too easy for me to say, go find something else, but if we do say reapply, I want you to, start to get your ducks in a row in case it's denied, so that you can find something that will not put you in this situation. Kendra, do you have any comments?
No comments. I agree that seeing a completed form is essential.
Yeah. Jeremy, do you have anything else?
Well, I think Matt has something, but real quick, I guess I would ask you, if I get a completed form, are you guys okay with the fact that he has warrants that could result in his arrest at any police contact? Is that a concern for you guys? And if not, that's fine. And then I don't see any reason to deny it if the form is complete, but ultimately I think that falls upon L&O. I don't know if Matt has any input on that.
Yeah, at least from my perspective, I'm not sure that should be a huge, I mean, normally it might be, but I mean, well, even the PO hold is an older, I mean, I guess amongst the information I'd like you to come back with is an understanding of, where were you? And I assume the PO holds related to these other things. But where were you when that initial appearance and that caused the bench warden to go out? But I also would like, Ryan, Jeremy, do we have an email address for Ryan?
There's one on the form here. I guess you can tell me if this is accurate. spankbuddha@gmail.com. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's accurate.
All right. Yes, we have an email address.
So the reason I ask is, Ryan, I wanted to be able to send you that list of things that the committee is supposed to consider when it considers past convictions,
Okay.
so that you can look at that list and provide as much information and articulate as best you can things that meet kind of those criteria. It'll give you a better shot, but also gives the committee a clearer path to understanding the individual things it has to consider. So I think it'll be best for all the parties if you understand what each of those points are. So I'll get those to you.
So Matt, are you suggesting that this be set over to the next meeting with opportunity to provide that information, or?
Well, that's kind of what I was hearing the members saying. I guess we don't have that formal motion, and I assume, Ryan, does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's definitely fair. And then if you have any gaps or anything that you need information, I'll fill it all in, to give you a better idea of what was going on.
And and hopefully that'll also give time for the further clarification about, the interfacing with the Columbia County lawyer, et cetera. So any additional context there by our next meeting would be very helpful.
Okay.
So I will make the motion then to what Matt, defer until the next meeting?
Yeah, defer until the next meeting, or until the first meeting after a new application is filed.
Yeah.
We're not gonna put it on the agenda without this material, but
I'll make that motion, which is when the new application has been filed, it will come back at the very next LNL meeting, whenever that may be.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I just have a clarifying question perhaps for Matt. So is this going down as a review of the appeal if I get a new application, or is this going down as just a review of the application?
I think it's a review of the application. It's
Okay.
just a supplement to the application, really.
All right.
And Jeremy, I'm gonna send this list to you. I'm not sure if I'm reading the
I'll take care of
copy
it.
the copy that's on the in the packet isn't. I don't know if I can read that email address right. So I just emailed you that list of criteria so you can
Okay.
forward it to Ryan.
Yep, I'll ship it off to you by email then, Ryan.
Okay, thank you. And then as far as the application goes, that's just the same online, or just the revision, or just the same thing online?
Yeah, just make sure it's more completely filled out, and
Right.
then once I get that, I can get it on whatever the next agenda is. So we have the meeting once a month. It's the second Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
So then we'd be looking at,
April 11th, if it's.
there you go, she's prepared.
If it's returned right away.
Yeah, you'd have to get it at least probably 5 days in advance, like by no later than late that first week of April.
No, I can do
So-
that. Yeah,
Sooner
for
the
sure.
better.
Okay.
And then what the city attorney is talking about, I'll ship you off some criteria by which like you could get letters of recommendation and whatnot, and you could supply that
Okay.
to me and I can include it in the packet here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I think-
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Ryan, thank you so much. We still need to vote. All in favor of the deferral?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Ryan, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to getting your new application in.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Moving on to licenses and permits. Number 1 is application for combination Class B beer and Class B liquor quota license by Fresco La Casa de las Fajitas, doing business as Fresco Fajita House, 1920 Parmenter Street, Jennifer Lynn Dominguez, Verona, Wisconsin agent.
And Jennifer is here.
Yep.
She was invited in case you guys had any questions. But as far as the background check and everything goes, that was fine. And just so you guys know, this would be going into the Roman Candle Pizza. location.
Oh,
Excellent.
very exciting.
So again, no issues from the police department standpoint.
Great. Any questions from my committee?
No, but I'll move approval.
I will second
I will
that.
second.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
great. No, that's fine. I was just late to
Jeremy,
my mute
take your
button.
pick.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the application for combination Class B beer and Class B liquor license to Fresco La Casa de las Fajitas for Fresco Fajita House, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. All right, well, best of luck,
Thank
Jennifer.
you. Thank you.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. All right, moving on. I think that the next 3 items, 2, 3, and 4 can possibly go together.
Correct, yeah. I think
Application for special event permit by Gilda's Club Madison. Christine Rader, contact person for the Gilda's Backyard Barbecue on June 15th, 2023 at Gilda's Club Madison. Also, application for an outdoor amplified sound permit by Christine Rader for Gilda's Club, a commercial enterprise, 7907 UW Health Court for sound system, band, DJ, and announcements from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. June 15th, 2023 for the Gilda's Backyard Barbecue fundraiser. And thirdly, application for a temporary Class B retailer's license to sell beer and wine by Gilda's Club Madison, 7907 UW Health Court. Lania Stentz, CEO, for June 15th, 2023 at Gilda's Club for the Backyard Barbecue fundraiser using security plan GC1.
Yeah, so I'll just jump in. I know Christine's on the call, but this is an annual event, an annual fundraiser event held by Gilda's. Plans are extremely similar to last year's event. And if the committee has any questions, yeah, Christine's on the call.
My question is for Jeremy. Is it the same security plan as last time?
It is, yep. And so this is the one, there was some discussion about whether or not they should have a fence, if you guys recall, or for those of, I guess, Katie, you're the only one, or maybe we discussed this last year with this group, but so there's environmental design that separates this location from the rest, from the general public. So there was no issues last year, a well-run event, and we don't have any problems.
Perfect,
Yep.
Perfect. Anybody else have any questions? Christine, do you have anything to add that we might need to know?
No, I think like Jeremy mentioned, it's really almost exactly the same as last year, and it's an event that we've done for, goodness, 12 years, except for about a 2-year hiatus during COVID. But yeah, it's an older crowd, a little bit more of our donors, and it's, you know, it wraps up about 8:30, so it's short and sweet, and yeah, nothing too crazy.
Wonderful, wonderful. Any questions from the committee? If none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I will make a motion that we approve the, is it 3 permits and a plan? Is that what it is? All 3 permits and the plan for the backyard picnic at Gilda's Club. Backyard
Wonderful.
barbecue.
I'll second that.
Great. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. Have a great event.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in.
Yep, take care.
All right, on to numbers 5 and 6. We'll run these together. Application for a special event permit by City of Middleton, Matt Stroh-Snyder, contact person for Shamrock Hop on March 18th, 2023 at Stonehorse Green. And an application for an outdoor amplified sound permit by Matt Stroh-Snyder for the City of Middleton, 7426 Hubbard Avenue for band, sound system, and announcements from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. March 18th, 2023 for Shamrock Hop at Stonehorse Green, 7550 Hubbard Avenue.
This is, Matt wasn't able to join tonight, but this is a first time event with definitely the potential to have it become an annual, just at Stonehorse Green, and no plans to close down the street.
Why not?
I don't think they're expecting enough people to make it worthwhile, and just, I think they're just being cognizant of closing down the street on a Saturday and affecting those businesses. I think they really only want to do that when they know that crowds are going to be really heavy.
Yeah, I think this makes it easier on everybody. Any questions from anyone? I mean, who doesn't want some Irish music this weekend?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed they're not closing down the street. I think it just makes for a safer and a little bit more. It just feels like a safer and a more fun atmosphere. But I realize that Matt's not here to talk about it, so.
Yeah,
But I get it.
I'm looking at the forecast. The high on Saturday is 26.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know
okay.
that we're gonna need the street closed
I think you're right. You're right
for
on it.
this year. Maybe we'll look at it for next year.
Yeah, March is up, you never know what you're gonna get.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Any other questions? If not, I'm gonna move that we, as a very Irish person, I'm gonna move that we approve both permits for this event.
I will second.
Any other discussion on this one? If not, all in favor of application for a special event and outdoor amplified sound permit for the Shamrock Hop, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. On to numbers 7 and 8. Application for a special event permit by the City of Middleton, Matt Stroh-Snyder, contact person for Mirth Day, combination of John Muir's birthday and Earth Day on April 22nd, 2023 at Stonehorse Green. And an application for an outdoor amplified sound permit by Matt Stroh-Snyder for the City of Middleton, 7426 Hubbard Avenue for band, sound system and announcements, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., April 22nd, 2023 for Mirth Day at Stonehorse Green, 7550 Hubbard Avenue.
And again, just somewhat similar to the last one, just different day, but also just a Saturday afternoon, looking to have music and family fun. Again, potential to have it be an annual, and no street closure plan with this one either. I mean, Matt would definitely be the one to back this up, but I think until they kind of know what events might really get popular, I think they want to refrain from closing down the streets to know it's worthwhile.
All right, any questions from anyone else? I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I will move. Go ahead.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. On to ordinances. Number 1, an ordinance to amend various traffic code provisions relating to parking and bus stops.
Yeah, so if you recall, this was before us last month in a little different form. Because we've recently rediscovered some technical language in our ordinance, I reworked this to show the entire list and exactly what is being stricken out and underlined. But otherwise, it's the same locations and so forth that are being added and subtracted as in the ordinance before you last month.
I apologize if I'm just spacing out and you just said it. I'm looking at all of these roads and everything. Why did we defer this?
Because it was mostly a form issue of form. Before it wasn't, it was written in 2 separate sections to say we're adding or subtracting these locations, adding others. And that doesn't really fit with another provision in our ordinances about how the form of our ordinances is supposed to be. I'd actually intended to try to suggest something, so this one wasn't so bad, but when we do have other ordinances that are set forth in lists like this can get pretty tedious. So I do intend to bring something back to allow us in these limited circumstances to do a little different format, but since we don't have that change made yet, I put this back into the form that ostensibly our current code demands of this type of ordinance. But
Okay.
in substance, nothing has changed. We're just have a whole bunch of bus stops that are going away and a few
Coming in.
added. Yeah.
All right. Any questions or discussion from the committee?
Nothing of substance, just to say that I like this format. I find it easier to see
Yeah,
what, other than saying this is what's going away and this is what, as adding, it's easier for me to be like, oh, okay, that's going away. Rather than giving me a list, I find this format much easier, but
yeah. Okay.
Well, and
cool.
maybe that's the discussion that we have about whether we want to change this. And like I said, this one's only 4 pages of list, but we have, like certain other places like no parking areas, or we have a couple that are several pages of lists. But I mean, if that's the way people prefer it, it's certainly a lot easier these days to cut and paste even from the PDF than it used to be. So.
Okay.
But that's right.
So we are just, we're just okaying this latest form, this latest
Recommending.
iteration.
Yep.
and is there a date this has to go? Sorry, I just scrolled off what I was supposed to be looking at. Do we have to have like when this goes into effect?
Yeah,
Or is
that's the last thing here. It'll take effect upon publication
Oh,
or
June 11th. Okay.
whichever's
Sorry.
there.
Thank
Sorry.
you. I scrolled right by it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it gets lost in the big list.
Yeah, it gets lost in the list.
Got it. Okay. And so we're just recommending that this go to council.
Yep, recommending approval to the council.
All right, I will move that we recommend to council to make this, to approve the change to the ordinance.
Mhm.
I'll second that.
Great. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Passes unanimously. And our last ordinance is an ordinance relating to events at Stonehorse Green and to require special event permit application for city-sponsored events.
So, yeah, talked with Abby a little bit, ran this draft by her, and I understand this went to CDA as well. There aren't really a ton of changes that are made here, and so I thought when I looked at this, the differences between the last one and this one were going to be more obvious to me, and I apologize. They aren't, as I sit here and read this, so I can think about what. Well, probably one major difference was to allow partnerships. So before it was just
sponsored, yeah.
it was sponsored. So, but I did change it a bit such that, now additional approval. Hold on, I'm actually, as I'm reading this, I'm not sure that this reads the way I intended. Yeah, no, there's missing language in this. It should, and sub 3 should read organized by or in partnership with.
Mhm.
I'm not sure where that language went to.
Well, and I feel like there were things in the last version of this that we saw that aren't there now.
Yeah, I
Mike?
probably should pull up, let me see if I can pull up where the last version was.
Because that would have been nice to see a redlined version of the last one that we had seen.
Yeah, that gets a little. Yeah, it wouldn't have been, it probably been better to give you a copy of the last version. You know, additional redlining when you're redlining to show the differences between the existing code. And now, and then introducing additional red lines to show version to version becomes a little unwieldy, but hold on a second.
I mean, I think if,
Well, 'cause I wouldn't know, you wouldn't know if the red line is showing a difference between last version and this version, or if it's showing a difference between, because I've got certain amendments to existing language in the code. It wouldn't have been an issue for, I guess, sub 3, but
and that's the meat of it for this one. But I think that's just maybe,
yeah.
I think anyone that's been working with this for a while, as we all have, would recognize what's been changing.
Well, one thing though is I at least did save my last version. Okay.
I have a question about 3A when you get there, when you have a second and you're not looking.
Sure. Okay, one thing that is added. Oh, wait. Operated in conjunction. I'm sorry, I really thought this was all going to be a lot more obvious to me. I should have. So new is adding, oh yeah, so section 7015F at the top, that has not been in previous versions. That relates to loosening up and being able to have food carts. So anything operating in that is an exemption to the food cart permit requirement. So that's what that is.
Wait, where are you seeing that? On
At
what we have in-
the ordinance in. Wow, what did you what?
Yeah, I only see.
This is, I just verified.
7.170.
Oh, you know what? That's because I think I fear that I may have sent Jeremy the wrong version.
Yeah, I just verified this one that's in here is the one that you last sent me. So I don't know if you want to either share screen or email it to me and I can share screen.
Yeah, here, let me just double check what I have. Yeah, I think this is the wrong version that's in the packet. I might have sent you the wrong thing. Sorry. I think what happened is I went back in and made an additional change, but then I did it to the wrong version and sent you that instead of what I intended to send. So here, I'll fix this. There. Yeah, am I able to share the screen or?
It looks like you can. It says just one participant can share at a time.
I just gotta share screen.
Matt, is the latest one the one that you sent me for the CDA to review? Because I could share that one.
Yeah, the one thing I don't think was in that version was what I was about to discuss. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So in that version, I did explain to you that I intended to do this, but I think that the version you still had. So here's where the language that I wanted to have is they're in partnership with the city department So I got rid of that list, because we were already getting rid of the school district. But since we were always doing things in partnership, what I didn't want to have is a situation of in partnership with the downtown Middleton business, because then they would be in charge of figuring out who they're in partnership, and it might be harder to figure out exactly what partnership was.
Right.
Where I would think, some level of partnership would probably almost always be occurring anyway between the city and downtown Middleton. I eliminated that, and so now on some level, the city or city department, board, commission needs to be on some level in partnership. So that's what this language does. That's the big change. So then the other one, what I was talking about is up here, 701(5)(f). That is the exemption for the food cart. So that if it's for a event at the Stone Horse Green organized under this paragraph, they don't need the permit.
Mhm.
Then this should be the same. Actually, I think everything else, I think those are really the major changes. I'm not sure. Previously, we'd kind of fixed the fireplace. There was some other more restrictive language that had been fixed before. I don't think there are any changes there. So I believe that those are all the.
Matt, can I ask you about now 4A? No fee shall be required if the applicant is the city of Middleton or a city department. Are we still requiring a fee from someone partnering with us? Like, for example, CXC skiing.
Right. Well, I mean, I would say to deal with that way, I would say the city should probably be sort of the applicant.
Okay, yeah, okay,
In every situation.
that's clear to me then.
I mean, that's just, yeah. Because we had decided a while ago that we thought it good to have even all city events at least go through the process, although, given Stone Horse Green, that was the other question that I kind of floated out there, and apparently CDA didn't feel important, and maybe it's something we just want to think about, but if we start getting some sort of consistency with how the events go at Stone Horse Green, maybe actually Stone Horse Green events going through the special event permit process, maybe that's something we want to relax or get rid of.
Yeah, I
but-
know it's the wish of CDA to simplify everything as much as possible, so that space is being used as much as possible.
Right.
I'm assuming then amplified sound permits still need to be obtained, or?
Yeah, but we can, we discussed that a little bit, and I mean, I think, we can still have applications submitted sort of in blocks of, here we're having this type of event in these hours, all these dates, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be a one at a time sort of thing, and that seemed to be acceptable.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I want them to be able to be spontaneous too. If they have, a week and a half notice and we're not going to be meeting, we don't want to
Right.
harsh their plan.
Indeed.
All right, so committee, any questions or comments on the ordinance before us?
I like the changes about being partnered with the commission or the kind of the department component. I think that helps provide clarity.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
One thing though, as I'm sitting here, I'm not. I'm kind of leaning towards wondering if it's helpful or necessary to distinguish the city from the individual departments, boards, etc. Because there's not really, first of all, I think there should be some symmetry between how we refer to the entities here and how we refer to them here. But I'm wondering if we just say the applicant is the city of Middleton. I mean, I think anybody, employee, department head organizing an event is
Is the city.
acting in the capacity as, in their capacity as the city. I'm not sure we need to parse
Yeah,
that out further. So I would, if I see a lot of nodding heads, I might start making that edit. Does that seem?
yeah, it does to me.
Okay.
I would be more in favor of having it echo how it appears at the end of the other paragraph.
Oh, you would rather
Oh,
add,
you want it spelled out?
Yeah.
okay, well, we can
Okay.
do that. So.
Fair.
I mean, but that's just my need for the symmetry and the consistency of language within an ordinance, but
Right.
Can you run me through really quick again? Sorry, go ahead and I can hold that thought until we.
Oh, go ahead. I can walk and chew gum at the same time.
So walk me through. So we're not requiring special event permits, just amplified sound?
No, we are requiring special event permits.
Okay, sorry, I think I misheard that then.
What? So I think I'm confused now.
As this is drafted, it's still there. That we're requiring special event permits that had not been taken out or requested to be taken out.
So we're still requiring them to come before this committee for every event.
Yeah, or I mean, I said, I think like a lot of it's good to have a block of events if we get some consistency, but yes, right now, because right now this ordinance does not treat Stonehorse Green apart from other types of events with respect to special event.
Can I pull Abby in on this? Are you here, Abby? Didn't we want to make it so that this wasn't the case, that we didn't want to have to come for permits?
I think that what we would like to separately request, and I wasn't here when you talked about the permit request that Matt Stroh-Snyder had on your agenda earlier, but I think what we were hoping for is that we could apply for a blanket amplified sound permit similar to the annual permit that that License and Ordinance Committee grants to Capital Brewery. And then that would mean we would only need, my understanding is we would only need to come before L&O if we were requesting a road closure, which would meet the definition of a special event in 717 of the city code, or if we were applying to host an event where we would have more than 200 people in attendance. I think those are the two main triggers. There are some other things in that section 717, I think, like fireworks and other things that would take an event from, a small scale activity that is not really going to have major impacts to the neighborhood to meeting the threshold for requiring a special event permit. But the two primary ones that I saw that would be commonly used in this space would be road closure and exceeding 200 people. What we really would like to request from L&O is for events where we don't anticipate exceeding the 200 people threshold, and we'll have a lot of events that fall below that at Stonehorse Green, and we don't need to close a road, but we do need amplified sound. We would not need to come and get a special event permit. And the example that I used at Community Development Authority are the trivia nights that Matt has set up for May. Those are just a weekly event and we might get 50 people if we're lucky. And the amplified sound would shut off at a reasonable hour. I'm not sure whether he's submitted the application for the blanket permit yet for that.
No, we haven't seen one.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what we were hoping for.
Well, so, I mean, so there's nothing in here that says you always need a special event. Well, let me just double check. Let's see.
So while Matt's reading, Abby, what we got from Matt were applications for 2 separate special events, a special event permit and outdoor amplified sound permits for each of the Shamrock Hop and Mirth Day. So we haven't seen any requests for the blanket permits for events and sound, which is what I guess I thought we were.
I think that he
Wait
had
here.
corresponded with Laura about getting the blanket amplified sound permit, and I don't know if there's an application form specific to that or what needs to be done to apply for that.
And does that mean that this ordinance we are talking about right now, we have misinterpreted and should be the blanket application?
I think that Matt preferred that we treat the city consistently with how we've treated private business. So I think that the ordinance as it's written now satisfies our need, as long as I understand correctly that we could separately apply for the blanket permit for amplified sound, and that we would not be obligated to bring smaller events forward as long as they don't require a road closure.
Gotcha.
Right, or the two, right now, the way it is drafted is only if you trigger what requires a special event permit. And that's 200 or more people or a road closure. If neither of those things are apply, you don't need a special event permit. Because
Okay.
those are the criteria. Yeah, we're certainly not increasing the burden on city stuff at Stonehorse Green over other normal special events. But if either of the 2 triggers in the special event ordinance are met, then under this, a special event permit is required. And then, like I said, we have interpreted the existing sound permit to allow, multiple dates to be applied for under a single permit.
Okay, yeah, then I think that the version that's on the screen is the version, it's very similar to the version that the Community Development Authority reviewed at their meeting last week and was supportive of. They did note that with this being a new space, it's possible that in 6 months after holding events there, we would bring something forward and request a change because we're kind of learning as we go. The only change that I see from the version that's displayed on the screen and the version that I shared with the CDA, the primary change is that the Downtown Middleton Business Association, as Matt mentioned, is not listed as, an entity that can organize events. But I agree with Matt that those are mostly all going to happen anyway in partnership. They need to be in partnership with us because we hold the master calendar for the space. So I don't see that being an issue or an area of concern. We partner with the DMBA all the time. So I don't think that that's a problem.
Okay.
And just to jump in quick on
go ahead.
as far as the amplified sound, Matt and I had chatted just a little bit when he submitted these, and he just kind of submitted these 2 applications for the Shamrock Hop and Mirth Day without knowing kind of where this ordinance was going, because it was still kind of up in the air. I think he has said that he would love to do a blanket amplified sound similar to Capitol Brewery. I think we just weren't clear as to whether the committee would entertain that or not. So, and I mean, from what you guys have already kind of communicated earlier, it sounds like you're definitely open to like a series of events on one application. Like, if we know like 5 dates coming up, we could throw them all on one application. That would streamline it. But I guess it'd be nice to get clarification too on whether you are open to just, because really the application is identical. If we're going to do it similar to like how Capital Brewery does, it's the same exact application. It's just they spell out days of the weeks and times. So.
Wait, so Capital Brewery spells out days of the weeks and times? Like they have a set calendar already when they apply? I'm trying to remember their permit. I thought they were just like given sort of like you can do any day of the week until a certain hour, right?
I think it's like Monday through Thursday is a set time. Friday is a set time, Saturday is separate, and Sunday is separate. So like it's like 4 total applications that break out those different times of each of those weekdays.
Yes, I think they have 3 or 4 different types of events that the Saturday events are all kind of this format, the Sunday are all kind of this format, and
And so the more that I think about it, I think maybe if we start, I would like to see, this is obviously I'd like to see maybe if we start with, Laura, like you said, 1 recurring event and see like if we know we're going to Thursday night trivia nights and we can put that on as 1 permit for like Thursdays from April through June or whatever, and see what we hear as far as any feedback. And sort of take them in bits like that. Or if there's going to be every Thursday night in the summer, if we're doing the summer Thursday events that we did prior to construction at Stonehorse Green. If we have those kind of recurring things, I think those might be easier to take at this point in time rather than a blanket one. More closely similar to what Capital has. I would say let's wait maybe a year for that kind of format, but if we take it more like as recurring events at this point in time. Just because that way we give people an opportunity to give feedback. If the Thursday night events are too much and the neighbors are they want to, it would just provide a little bit more space for feedback, I feel like.
What does Kiva have for an amplified sound permit? Don't they have one, like a blanket one for outdoor volleyball?
I can look that up for you here real quick.
They haven't yet applied for their 2023. I know that, but I think they do kind of an annual one similar to Capital, but then their music series that they've had the last couple of summers, they do separate ones for those just because those times and the fact that it's a band, they go outside of like their normal annual one. So those have been separate applications.
I'm curious about their annual one.
It is, oh wait. Let me look back. Kiva is last year was May through October, 8 a.m. to midnight. And that was, I think, 7 days a week.
Wow.
I don't think we need a midnight, but I would love to have a blanket sound permit for Stonehorse that would go until 9. And if there's something different, then they have to come with a separate application. So that Matt and company have the space to get creative and put stuff together quickly if they need to. Luke?
There's one, sorry.
No, go ahead, Kendra.
I mean, there's a distinction, there's a big distinction, I think, between Kiva and a downtown area. I think varying hours like what Capital has would be better just because you are talking about neighbors being right there. So, I mean, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night events are going to be very rare if they happen at all. but, I know if I was living downtown or I wouldn't want something there with the possibility of happening any night of the week. I would want to maybe keep it on the weekends. But
we need that space being used during the week.
yeah, and I guess I'm just saying yeah. And I guess
You-
in the summer, 9 o'clock at night isn't really all that late. The sun's still out half the time, so.
I do have
um,
the Capitol Brewery permits. If you want to know the specific hours, I can provide that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you have that handy? Thank you,
Yep,
Jeremy.
yeah, so Monday through Thursday, it's 5 PM to 9 PM. And this is for the 22 permits, I should add.
Okay.
Friday is 5 PM to 10 PM. Saturday is 11 AM to 11 PM. And Sunday, 11 AM to 6 PM.
Yeah, I think I would support that rather than something that like what Kiva has, where it's a little bit more wide open.
But that's like later.
No, Kiva has it till midnight.
Yeah, Kiva has it till midnight.
I know, I'm saying a blanket one for Stonehorse that would go until like 8 or 9 PM.
Oh, yeah, that I agree with too, but I'm saying even just keeping it shorter on, I don't know, Mondays, I guess 5 to 9. I guess, yeah, I just want to be sensitive to the fact that it is downtown and that there's
Yeah,
people living.
I mean, just on the other side of the block, they're getting music at Capitol Brewery till 11 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah, but yeah, but that also faces onto the freeway instead of right into the stage facing into the courtyard like it
True.
is. I mean, it's fine if I just think that. I mean, maybe Matt has ideas that he could back up one application over another. If he wants to do a blanket permit, maybe we ask Matt to say, what would you want? Do you see it being used 5 nights a week, 7 nights a week? Or is it, do you, maybe he has ideas about how he'd want it shaped.
Mhm. Luke, any thoughts? You're here, huh?
I wonder at this point if we're letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. And if we've kicked around this topic for a long time, and I'm just wondering if it makes sense to just move forward with what's in front of us with the full knowledge that future modifications may be necessary.
Mm-hmm. Abby has her hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Monday through Wednesday, those nights are gonna be highly unlikely that we're gonna be holding events unless it happens to fall on a holiday or, there's an annual event that we've been part of now called Make Music Day. So that was on a Tuesday. So I think that those are gonna be outliers. But I was thinking maybe Matt could work with Laura and we could look at some other examples, like for example, the high school. I mean, that's a very good similar example, I would think, because they have amplified sound and it's very proximate to single family. So I don't know if we could just look at a few examples like that and see what their applications look like, and then try to put something together for you to review at your next meeting.
That sounds good. Does that sound okay to everybody?
And the
Works for me.
space does close at 10 PM. So we would never be applying for anything past 10 PM. But I even think having amplified sound up to 10 PM, that's going to be a very rare occurrence.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So we still have this ordinance before us, right? We still haven't voted on that, correct?
One last little
Correct.
tweak. There.
All set for that, Matt?
Yep, I promise I won't change it.
Pause off. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this ordinance.
So moved.
I will second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Phew. Anything else?
Matt, are you just gonna ship that off to me then?
I am shipping it off to you right now as we
Sounds-
speak.
Sounds good, thank you.
Ship has sailed. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all.